What's up, everybody? It's your girl Nita, your favorite diva, and I am back to do the Shy Season 6, Episode 3 recap. This is House Party, and this episode centers around the housewarming of Keisha and Emmett. So let me just go through the synopsis. Emmett contends with an unexpected gift. Victor surprises Fatima. Lynae starts to doubt Bakari's intentions, and Papa defends Kenya. Darnell issues a warning, and Rob looks for clues. And y'all, this was a really good episode. So this is your spoiler warning. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the episode starts out with Kenya with the irate customer. Okay, so he's irate talking about a large advance order he put out and it wasn't available. And his voice is getting up there, right? So have no fear, Papa's here. Papa comes out, he was like, I'm gonna need you to use your inside voice. And I said, come on, Papa. And then next thing you know, he ended up handling him. And I just want y'all to see this one little clip real quick because I'm giving Papa kudos and one of the classy MVPs of this episode. So let's just get into it.
On the customers all day.
How do you not get mad or clap back?
It's not worth the energy, and most of the time these folks be mad about stuff that ain't got shit to do with us. So
Hello?
let's find a solution and send them on their way.
I love that for Papa. I was like, he was just on some grown man ish, and I love it so much. I give him the MVP of the episode. So, yeah. So I enjoyed that scene, and I did see Kenya looking at him a little differently, like, gotcha, okay. So, oh, I forgot to include that he finessed that whole thing where he made the customer happy, and then he also got a real apology from the dude to Kenya, and she was very impressed by that. And we're just gonna go ahead and keep that storyline together. She ended up at the end of the day saying that she's not used to people taking up for her. And I'm like, I know you can't be talking about your parents, but you know our kids have revisionist history, girl. Whatever. She said she ain't used to people. So maybe she's talking about people like people that she's met in school, people, her boyfriend, whatever. But she said she's not used to people taking up for her. And he's like, I always got your back. She said, you want to go bowling on Thursday night? And he was like, oh yeah. And then he had like this word vomit, like everything that he was thinking in his head just kind of came out, where his whole thought process on the date or whatever. I thought it was so cute. But King was like, okay, see you later, Papa. But the date is still on. The date is still on. So later on at Smokey's, we do see D-Ray and Shad, a couple of Dusties, having a conversation. Shad recognizes him from Instagram, pulls him over, asks him, can he get some advice from him? He said, yeah, my Cash App is in the bio on the Instagram. And he was like, oh, I'm kind of low on cash. Then all this other stuff they're talking about, his girlfriend, her being a breadwinner, all of that. Next, that's a fast forward for me. Now, also too, at Smokey's, we see Lynae and Jamal talking, and he's pretty much still laying down the law, pretty much saying that, you know, I really, really need you not to be messing with no street dudes. I need you to reconsider this for me. And she was just like, you know, he felt, to her, she said it felt like he was projecting. And so she was like, that's your story, that's not his story. He was like, all the stories are the same. And so she was listening to him, but she was kind of giving him a little hard time. But he did get through to her, and he did say that he wanted to meet that young man that works for Duda, because he knows he worked for Duda. He told him through the whole step of how it works and how if he's just a lookout, then he get promoted, then you get, you know, listen, we know what it is. And he trying to school her. And luckily she did listen to him. Okay, so people are starting to come to the housewarming. That's Tiff. Oh, y'all, I forgot. Tiff and Rob came. They were one of the first ones to get there. They were really happy for them. Rob was checking out the place or whatever. Tiffany was like, no, Keisha was like, nice car. Tiffany was like, you got a whole house out of him. So, I was like, this girl, what did we compare? Listen. But they were happy and they moved on from that. And let's just go to the next scene. Next scene, we see some other friends coming in. These are people that they probably graduated with from high school with, people that was in the neighborhood that they grew up with. And what they found from their whole conversations, there's some dusties. They're not on their level. And they just pretty much don't have the same morals and values and are not in the same place in life. And Keisha, child, if looks could kill, Keisha, that boy in the gray shirt, he would have been dead. Because Keisha was like, Emmett, I know you ain't listening to that foolishness. And that's how we always say, like, it's always the thing, who raised you? Who raised you? Yeah, we know most single mothers raise these men out here. But there are influences, Black male culture, the Black male community, all of the toxicity influences and teaches your boys, okay? Especially if there's not a male presence in the household or somebody that's there to guide him. The streets guide him. Black male culture guides him, raises him, gives him his values. Because you saw what he was doing, right? Now, it's one of those things like, is he going to reject it or will he lean into it? And that's just how that works. Okay, and then Keisha girlfriend, she's pregnant, and she just sounded like a hater to me. She was like, Emmett got a reputation around here. If you having problems, just call me, girl. No, I'm not calling you with my problems, girl. You probably be sitting up there laughing on mute, gloating about my problems. She was like, oh, I'll keep you on speed dial. Okay. Then she was all in her pockets talking about, how much y'all pay for rent. She's like, what do you mean? She was like, this everybody's different. Like, what I pay is not gonna be what you pay. So she was just like, me and him, we split the mortgage. It's not rent. Okay. So she made sure she put that. I said, okay, Keisha, I see you, boo. Now, Jada, I don't know why she is on this mission to get Tracy a man. You see, I put the Dusty at the bottom. I got the well-rounded man at the top, the realtor, the real estate agent at the top. And she's trying to get into his mind, try to see what's going on with him. And basically he's taken. Of course he is. He's a catch, okay? So yeah, and then she's asking old crazy dude, and I'm just like, girl, do you know how old Tracy is? This little boy right here. I mean, I know you was with the masseuse, but girl, everybody is not cougaring out here. So I'm gonna need you to pipe down with that whole matchmaking. I'm like, this, and then Darnell came. He's like, this man, why are you harassing all the men at this party? If Keisha want to be single, let her be single. I just want her to be happy. My whole thing is, I was looking at Jada and she didn't look happy at all during the whole party. Like when they panned over to her, when Duda came in and he was talking to Emmett, she was oblivious. She didn't care. She wasn't showing no concern. He sucked the air right out the room for everybody, but she's sitting over in the corner, like, thinking and talking and stuff like that. And he was like, this, how do you know she's not happy just because she's single? Duh. Don't nobody have to be dealing with no foolishness or whatever. You can be happy single. You don't have to have a man to be happy. Okay, let's go ahead and dispel that myth. Now we move on to this whole thing, and listen to me. I think we have some issues where Keisha is harboring some resentment towards her mother. I think they touched on this in either season 4 when she was rescued, and I think she has not gone to therapy to deal with that. I guess she is just fine with treating her mother any old kind of way. But you could see when they came in with the gift, and look at her face. That's the face towards her mother. And they was trying to explain this is an air fryer and all this stuff and da 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 da. And Dre came out and she said that. And then once Dre started talking, she started perking up. Like, you know, I think she feels like Dre did more to look for her than her mother did. And I don't even know that that is really true. And I don't think she really knows that that's true, but that's what she's going with. And so if that's her experience, that's how she needs to work that out. But I don't think it's fair. And child, Dre ended up getting caught off guard by somebody that owed her money coming into the party with designer head to toe, and you owe me money. So she went to go run, holler at him so she can get her money, right? Okay. So, but yeah, I didn't like that at all. And then we get more into it. Once Dre goes off, you know, Nina is kind of feeling taken aback because she said she wasn't consulted, she wasn't asked, she wasn't told, she wasn't, you know, there was no communication in this big step that she did in her life. And she felt some type of way for it. And so she expressed, you know, her concerns about, you know, making large purchases with a boyfriend or someone you're dealing with without a commitment, because it can lead to you not having anything, lead to you like financially just unstable, all of the things. Like she was just like, you know, without a commitment, this is a big commitment without the other commitment. And I'm not going to fault Emmett because he just got out of a marriage, but that whole house thing, I felt like that was Keisha pressing it on her. Then he has all these different Duda influencing him and saying things to him and all that other stuff. So, you know, all of the pressures that Emmett has led to this whole thing. And it happened very fast. So, because you know how to do the work, right? So, anyway, she was just like, I just want the best for you. Keisha totally didn't listen, won't heed the warning signs, and she just walked out upset with her mother, turned her nose up. She was like, if you happy, it's okay. And she was like, did she say she was happy? I don't know if she said she was happy. I think she said, I am. And then I think her mother said, if you say so. And then that's when she walked off, stormed off mad or whatever. Then next thing you know, Nina is just like, she is like, these kids, I'm telling you, them kids, the transition from teenage to young adult child, it's growing pains. It's growing pains. You just gotta kind of push through. You gotta try to get through it the best you can. And I appreciate Dre coming to her, giving her the advice that she gave her. And she's talking about don't therapize me. And I'm just like, girl, if you need therapy and you got a therapist there, why not? Okay. Ciao. Anyway, Kevin came in. Baby, I don't think it was no slight to his mother. I think that nigga was hungry. I think Kevin was starving. The way he went up to that table, like he stopped at the table. Like maybe if the food wasn't right there, maybe if the food was behind Nina, she would have got that hug because he would have had to go behind his mama to go get the food. But the food came first, baby. Baby, his stomach was growling, and I'm sorry. It trumped you, so I'm sorry, boo. But she was hot though. But I mean, that's what I'm telling you. Them children will push you through it. Let them go and let them be. So the girls see Kevin crushing, smashing the food. It was so funny. They was like, hungry much? Like, can you say something for somebody else in this mud? He was like, man, I ain't had a home cooked meal in a long time. He was like, I'm hungry or whatever. They was like, go to the grocery store and cook. She was like, you need to learn how to cook. He said, I know how to cook eggs and bacon. I said, Lord have mercy. God bless his heart. He'll get there. He'll get there. He'll do it. But it was just so funny how Lynae and Maisha was like laughing and clowning him. Maisha was like, "Oh, my 7-year-old sister can make eggs and bacon too." All right, y'all. I'm gonna try this one more time because my Wi-Fi was acting a donkey, so I had to start it over, reboot everything, and try again. So it may look a little different. You may hear some background noises. we're in a different part of the day. So we're going to go ahead and continue to get into it. So we're here where little EJ and little Ronnie are sitting there playing doing the housewarming. And during this housewarming, I guess little Ronnie must have rubbed EJ the wrong way. And he must have been whining or something. And he told him, stop acting like a little bitch. And everybody was like, what? They sat up there and was like, what is going on? Where did you hear that from? Emmett is totally not taking this whole thing seriously. He's laughing. Keisha is dead serious. You know, Keisha don't got too many jokes for anybody. So I guess if you're going to be with Keisha, you better straighten up and fly right. Period. She was just like, no, if he's acting like this here, then he's probably doing it at school. Where did you hear this, EJ? And he said, in my mom's car. And then, so I'm going to play this clip and we're going to go ahead and get into it.
You ain't never have no brothers.
I know, and I got punked every day, girl. That's how I became a lady woman.
I mean, if he's talking like that at home, he's talking like that at school. You need to talk to Tiff.
Why you can't do it?
Stuff just got normal between us. That's going to make it weird.
And you want shit to be weird with me and her?
I can't tell her how to raise y'all's son.
Emmett. My, how life imitates art, art imitates life. We just looked at this whole situation. If you follow me on any of my other videos, we talked about Maurice and Kimmy from Love and Marriage Huntsville, and he wanted his wife to take on the responsibility of parenting his child with another woman. And he really stood 10 toes down in it. He really stood 10 toes down in it. And this is what he tried to do it. They will let you, if you allow them to do it, they will let you do it. So he was like, why can't you do it? And I'm like, because it's not her place to do it. And I'm telling you, Maurice was sitting up there trying to make every excuse in the book for Kimmy to do this while she was going through chemotherapy. But guess what? Keisha ain't even going through chemotherapy, and she said it's a no. So, Kimmy, baby, I think you can say it's a no too, okay? So, yeah, no. Exactly what she said. I was exactly on Keisha's side with this. That is you and her child. I don't have no say-so in that. I have your ear, you have her ear. That's how that works. Come on now. I know you didn't think that was going to work. Like, niggas just be doing... Child, niggas be doing the most. You hear me? Everybody, they let it go for now. Everybody get into the whole... Yeah. So we get into that or whatever. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's having a good time. And at the end of that... Oh, not at the end of that. Okay, so during this time, Emmett walks over to Kevin and asks him, is he too good to dance? Now, I saw that there were 3 people that weren't dancing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Rob was not dancing. Jada wasn't dancing. And Kevin wasn't dancing. Those are the 3 people that I saw wasn't dancing. And as you know, all 3 of those people are dealing with certain things or whatever. They have certain things on their mind and stuff like that. So yeah, he talked to him. He said, you too cool to dance? He was like, oh no. He was like, I'm just chilling. And that nigga, he was just chilling. But guess what? He was just chilling because he was so damn full because of all the food that he ate. All the food that he ate, he's full. He got the itis. He's sitting over there watching his little eye candy, Maisha. He's giving a little, Emmett talking about you doing good in your new place or whatever. Emmett said, he was like, yeah. He was like, I'm good. He said, except for having a home cooked meal and my mom washing my clothes, I'm perfectly fine. Then he was like, oh man, because if I had my own place at my age, I'd have been. I said, Emmett. And then Kevin was like, you was already doing that in your mama crib. I was like, oh my God. He had to call him out. So then he sees him eyeing Maisha on the floor, and he sees Maisha eyeing him back. And he was like, oh, what's up? Y'all about to get back together? What was that? He was like, man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know what I'm gonna do, whatever. I just know that, I'm not into all, trying to have all these women. I kind of like, I like her. And he was like, yeah, I know how you feel. And he started looking at Keisha on the dance floor. And he was like, oh, nigga, that's gross. That's gross. That's gross. Of course, because they never can think of their family members having sex or whatever. So I thought it was a cute scene. So in the next scene, after everybody had so much fun or whatever, then you see, oh, you know what? This probably happened before that scene or whatever. Okay, so Duda came in with his henchmen, minus Tay, Zay, Trey, whatever the dude name is. Baby, they getting all kinds of side eyes from Lynae, from Darnell. They come in there acting like Duda the man. I mean, I guess he is. I mean, shit. Everybody like, what the hell he doing here? And Emmett walked over and said, thanks for coming over. And he gifts him this black box. Oh, what is it, man? What is it? He thought it was cigars. I mean, yeah, it could have been a cigar box. You would be mistaken if you thought it was a cigar box. But I knew it was a gun box or whatever. And I feel like people probably figured out, and I think Darnell definitely figured out it was a damn gun. So that's why Darnell had his good eyebrow raised up on Duda and how he was acting or whatever. So he was like, I got you this nice, handsome housewoman gift or whatever. He's like, he was like, I want you to open up now, but I don't want you to open up out here. Go back in the back. And so he went in the back room, his bedroom with Duda, and Duda, kind of opened it up with him. And yeah, so we see that it's the gun. And he was like, every family needs to, every man needs to protect his family, his house, or whatever. I'm not mad at it. But when you do it on street terms, you got street stupidity. You're doing it without being responsible. I'm all for responsible gun carriers. But this street shit, just giving guns to people all willy-nilly, people that don't take the proper precautions. No, we cannot do that. That's not what we're doing here. And then to further my case, let's watch here. Like I said, irresponsible people do not need guns. Okay? All right. So then he heard some commotion going out there. I mean, of course, it was all those people out there, but they probably was going to the bathroom, but he got a little scared. And so he rushed and put the gun. We don't know if the gun was loaded. I'm saying either the safety was on or the gun was not loaded, because when he dropped the gun, sometimes that's enough to make a gun go off. So because that didn't happen, I'm thinking that maybe the safety was on or there was no bullets in there. He puts it in the nightstand. He goes out. He runs into his father, and he's all nick-noyed and fidgety, like, just startled. Talking about, what you doing out here like a creep? He's like, I was just going to the bathroom. No, your father wasn't. He was sitting up there trying to eavesdrop and try to figure out what the hell is going on back there in that back room, like he should have been. Darnell gets the MVP again from me on this episode. Not again, but I gave it to Papa earlier. I'm giving it to him in this instance. And later on, we'll get into it in a little bit. So then, no sooner than Duda and his henchmen come in, including Nuck and Bakari, Nuck goes into the kitchen and starts lighting up. Like this his house. Like this Duda house. Like this anybody other than the woman of the house. And she came that joint, she was just like, you cannot light that up in here. You cannot do that. And he was like, man, it's cold as shit outside. That sounds like a you problem, son. It's not a me problem. I have children in here. This is my home. I just got in here. You think you coming in here smoking in my house? Exit stage left. Keisha, I know they talking about everybody dragging you for acting like a bitch or whatever. You were absolutely right in this instance, and I was not mad at you. Okay? So then Rob said he'll go out there and smoke with him.
Hey, what you smoking on, my boy? Some shit my girl put me on. And y'all ain't fucking with do shit on me? Get the selling shit. Let's see what's to it. Damn, nigga. Yeah, where y'all get packed from? A friend. A friend. Some niggas keep secrets now.
Hey, I left this part out. This is post editing Diva. I just wanted to say, Rob, you know that's not how any of this shit works. What are you doing? What were you thinking? In the drug game, you know you're gonna get caught up for that. And then also too, they basically was just talking about the whole who killed Q and Nuck pretty much bullshitting.
After that, we see Trig come out the bathroom and he runs into Duda and he's like, "What the hell you doing here?" And he was just like, Emmett was, kind enough to invite me here. He was kind enough to invite me here. And he was like, "Don't get him all dragged up in your mess." And he was just like, "I'm investing into his future, just like I invested into your future. Look where you at." And he was like, "This man, don't do that. Don't do it." And he was like, "This, do you know who you talking to?" And then he was like, I think Trig was like, "I'm the one with the government seat. You better mind how you talking to me." And I was like, "Okay, Trig, I see you. All right." And then so they had their little words and went on their way. So then we also see these three red pill dusties having a conversation. They pretty much, they know Shaw got a breadwinner in his house, as most of them do. But they're making him feel bad. Darnell talking about, "You better be making sure you putting it down." He has years, decades and decades of practice of moving house to house, creating broken family after broken family, creating, single households and moving on to the next. So he has a lot of experience in doing that. He was like, "You better make sure you just be breaking their back." I mean, hey, it works. It's a proven known fact, ladies. Tighten up. Then D-Ray, I'm not calling him that stupid name that they got on there for him. D-Ray talking about, she's a art curator and stuff like that. You better be making sure she ain't fucking somebody else. And he was like, "Oh no, she ain't like that. She ain't like that." He was like this. "I don't trust none of these hoes." And then so he was just like, "Oh yeah, she just working." So trying to like insinuate that she's letting somebody else break her back out because Shaw is not good enough and she might be on to the next looking for the next better. I ain't saying nothing, but I'm gonna shut up.
Shout out to everybody. I had fun. I forgot. I'm out this bitch.
We get a scene where Keisha is putting the babies down to sleep. And she goes in the room and she comes out the room and she's startled by Nuck. Nuck is coming up behind her because he sees that's what she's doing. And he wasn't playing it off like he was trying to go to the bathroom or anything. He was just like, "I was looking for you." And she was like, "Oh." She was like, "Well, I'm right here." And then he kind of like apologized for what happened. So I'm going to let you hear what he said and then we're going to talk about it.
I just wanted to say I was sorry. If I just would have picked you up that night, none of this shit would have happened. You would have never got kidnapped. Think about it all the time.
What took you so long to say something?
To be honest, I didn't know what to say. And I also figured that you didn't want to talk to me. No one look at me.
Looking at you right now.
I can never forgive myself for this shit.
I forgive you.
Keisha, can you make some more cheese soup right now?
Yeah.
You forgave Nuck, but have you forgiven your mother? And I feel like your mother has come to you and has said that she's sorry and she wished she could have did all that she could, and sorry that you feel that she didn't, even though she was. I mean, I feel like two things can be true. Like she felt like she was doing the most she could, and she was so torn up about you, Keisha, while you were missing and gone, and Kevin sending her through the pits of hell. Girl, do you know how much it takes to stay on top of a family while one of your children, and the worry that is going, the depression, the anxiety is going over as your daughter is kidnapped, missing, could be either living her best life, moved on, or being tortured, ard, impregnated. Do you think that's a ride in the park for people? And that's where children and young adults get me fucked up, because those types of things aren't rides in the park. That is some real deal Holyfield. And I know y'all want to think that we're above reproach, or we should be above reproach, but it doesn't work like that. We are humans just like the next person, just like you are. Damn, she done fucked around and made me mad. Okay, let me. So then, Emmett walked in on the last half of that or whatever. But somebody said that they thought that was it DeMarcus? He said that he thought that Keisha was gonna step out on Emmett with nut. And I was just like, I feel like that goes against everything that she's about now. Like, I don't feel like she's about the street life. So why would she do that unless she's just trying to scratch another side of an itch that she has or something like that? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, especially how she's acting so holier than thou. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, for drama's sake, then that's what it looks like we're going with this. Okay, so DeMarcus, shout out to you. You are probably absolutely correct in your assessment. So in the next scene, we saw during that whole wobble thing that Lynae left because she wasn't in a good mood. She wasn't into the partying. Bakari, Duda, and Nut came in and broke up the scene, brought some negative energy, transferred the shit to her. She went outside and she's outside upset. Bakari goes to find her and it's like, what's going on? And she's like mad. And she's just like, because she's letting everything, like, she just had a conversation with Kevin, Maisha, and everybody talking about, your brother and Bakari are one and the same. He knows best. And yeah, we know Duda ain't the best person. And so when you get your peers to kind of agree with somebody else that's telling you something, then maybe that's another type of influence that you have where you start to take it to heart and you really be like trying to analyze and try to make the right decision. And she's pretty much saying that I don't want to deal with no street nigga. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. And he was just like, you knew what it was before we even got into it. You already knew what it was. And then I was just like, okay, so, sometimes the first layer of communication will happen like this, where people get defensive, people are talking, trying to express themselves, and the other person's kind of stonewalling them, and they're trying to defend their part in what's going on. And I'm just like, it's unfortunate. He kind of like went off on her, and she was like, maybe we don't need to be together. And then, they just kind of, the conversation left kind of open-ended, and it was kind of like, yikes. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's go to the next one. Okay, so then we have this situation between Emmett having to confront Tiffany about Keisha's concern about little EJ, even though he doesn't feel like little EJ hasn't done that bad. He said he want to make sure that both households are on the same accord, so little EJ doesn't get confused, and he's absolutely right. Now I don't know where he get all that. Maybe Keisha said that to him about getting confused, because that don't sound like something that would come from Emmett's mouth, because trust me, he's not the brightest crayon in the box. So he said to not confuse the baby. Okay, so we don't want two set of rules or whatever. Let's kind of do the thing. And she, Keisha was like, it's not funny. Everybody else was laughing. Rob was laughing. Emmett kind of chuckled a little bit, but he quickly, once Keisha stepped in there, he quickly changed that up. And Tiffany was laughing too. And, Keisha was just like, that's not funny. And Rob was like, my bad, Keisha, I apologize. We sorry over here. So he was trying to clean up the mess because, Rob don't want none. He ain't gonna start no stuff, ain't gonna be no stuff. You know what I'm saying? So Rob is the peaceful guy out here, and he trying to keep the damn peace. And then, of course, bird brain Tiffany feel like she's being shown up, gets defensive, and with that hood girl bird mentality, talking about, Keisha offered a solution, the edited rap version of the songs instead of just the regular explicit versions. And Tiff was like, no, absolutely not. Hell no. And she was like, you do what you do in your house and I'll do what I do in mine. I'm leaving. And she left, stormed out, of course. I think all parents kind of have on first take, I ain't gonna say all, may have that tinge of defensiveness when your parenthood or your parentage or your motherhood or your fatherhood is being questioned and, whatever. That is a normal response. So, but there is another part of the situation where hood chicks think that shit is cool because they think boys are supposed to act a certain way and girls are supposed to act a certain way. So let's not forget that layer. Like, there are levels to this stuff. It is very nuanced in this storyline. So I didn't want to just jump here to there or whatever. So they went into all that, and that is how that worked out. We see Bakari. Lynae is laying in the bed. She get a text from Bakari talking about come down and open the door or come outside or something. She said no. He said please with a sad face. So then she goes downstairs, and very loose boundaries, very loose boundaries. Of course, a lot of people have very loose boundaries. We understand it. We know we've been there, and we know the story. We got the t-shirt. You see what I'm saying? We got the t-shirt. Loose boundaries. So she go downstairs. He comes in the house with a bag of flaming hot Cheetos and some other kind of bag of candy that she likes. And then he was like, I'm sorry. And then so she's asking him like up front, she was like, how long are you talking? How long are you talking about doing this? Because I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to jail for you. I don't want to do this for you. He was like, I don't want you to. And yeah, you can say that now, but when you're in the situation, that's not how that plays out. If you watched us on Hot Topics on Friday night, that's not how any of this works out. Okay? And listen to my commentary on it, okay? So then she said, I just want to be happy. She doesn't want us to watch him die. And he was like, I want to be happy too. She said, are you happy? He said, no, I'm surviving. She says that is a totally different thing. Survival mode and happiness are two totally different things. And she is absolutely right. And then so he was just like, I'm going to do my best to try to, get out of it as fast as I can. And, I just want to make sure I can get off of Papa's couch and move on. And he was like, so you still my girl? And she was just like, for now. And then he kisses her. And so we'll see how this all plays out, y'all. You just remember what the Diva said, okay? All right. So then we get to Fatima and Trig. And Trig, he's had a couple of opportunities where he got to see Fatima in her element, being happy, talking to people, well, not people, Keisha, a person that was on her level, and did not make her feel any type of way, did not make her belittle her or threaten her or anything like that. She felt very comfortable around Keisha, and he sat there admiring all of that through the whole episode. And so then we see him admiring her again, and then he said, I want you to move in. And, you know, she agreed. She was like, we need to spruce up the place, all of that stuff. And then they end up making love to seal the deal. Next scene, we get to see as Duda was leaving, Darnell catching up with him, talking about, my son not going to be needing your little housewarming gift. And he pulled up on him and snatched him back or whatever. And then Nuck was looking like, what? He was like, I got it. He said, he was like, you know, every man needs protection. I was just offering the man protection. He said, the only thing my son needs protection from is you. And so he showed him that he had the gun. And baby, when I saw the gun, I said, thank you, Jesus. And that is when I gave Darnell MVP, because baby, when I tell you the statistics on how many infants, toddlers, and young adolescents who have killed themselves or unalived others that they're playing with, sisters, brothers, siblings, anybody playing with an unregistered a gun that's not marked and unsafe and not locked up. How many kids have lost their life behind that? The irresponsibleness of the parent. It is insane. It's insane. So he came up and he was like, oh, a protective father. I like that. I like that. Trig asked him, was he okay? He was like, I'm all right, mind your business. And then when Duda left, Emmett was coming out the house and he asked Darnell, what was that about? He was like, no, we just had a little talk. And he was like, okay. And then they went back in the house. So he never told him, he never gave the gun back to Duda. So he still has the gun. And he never told Emmett that he took the gun. So then we see in this particular shot where, you know, they are reminiscing over the housewarming, how much of a success it was. There were, for the most part, the party was a success. But they had a couple of little, you know, hiccups here and there and all that stuff or whatever. And, you know, they were saying that, you know, our peers that we used to grow up with, graduated with, went to school with, they're not on our level. We don't care about the same things. We don't have the same things in common. I can't relate to them. And she was like, it's real crazy how you can grow and move with the people that you know, that you grew up with. You know, you kind of outgrow them. He asked her, rightfully so, about Nut, and she lied. He asked her, what were they talking about? She was like, nothing. He said, is he trying to get back with you? She said, no. So then, of course, she asked the question as well, because he had some little dealings as well, where she saw the one with his classmate or whatever. But she said, what happened with Duda? What did he give you? And then he was like, some cigars. And so she was like, oh, so he just gave you a gift and he didn't give the family or the house a gift? And she was just like, whatever. And then so next thing you know, she went to turn over to go to sleep. I guess he wanted some. It looked like they might have was going to get some, but when they started talking about them heavy situations with Duda and Nut, child, Keisha turned over his nightstand, and baby, he found out the gun was gone, missing. He jumps out the bed, goes scurrying around the house trying to figure out, was anybody in here? She was like, no, it was just me. It was just me. What happened? What happened? Child, he looking all frantically over the house and then had the nerve to come back in the room and say, ain't nothing wrong. I said, what? I said, a missing gun in the house with 4 other minor children, and you're trying to tell your significant other that nothing is wrong and everything is going to be okay? Child, Emmett, honey. No, sir. I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry. That's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for me. So, child, y'all let me know. That's the end of the episode. Y'all let me know how you feel about it. Yeah, give me some death predictions. We definitely see some things drawing closer and closer. Did Emmett make a smart choice with not telling Keisha what was going on? Or did he make the right choice? Y'all let me know. Did Lynae make the right choice with still being Bakari's girlfriend for now? or was it the wrong choice? Was the flirtation between Tiff and Emmett, was there something wrong with that? There was something wrong with that for me. The flirtation and the opening scene between Emmett and Keisha was out of order. Out of order. The whole, what are you dressed up for? You look nice. You want to go to breakfast. You gonna drive because I want to get my money's worth. What up? Did y'all watch my live show? Episode 1 or 2? What I tell you? Your money's worth. Ladies, don't ever think that something that somebody gives you is without cost. You may think it is, but baby, they don't. So be careful with that too. So anyway, make sure you comment all your theories, your thoughts, your predictions. Leave it all down below. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on my social media. Let me put it on up here for you. Nita Bougie on Twitter or X. Boss Lady Nita Boo on Instagram. And make sure you come back, y'all. Bye. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.